Hey, Swing Trader Snacks here. We're going to go through our weekend watch list. We've got a holiday on Monday, so the markets will be closed, but boot camp starts on Monday, so consider joining that if you're not there already. Got about a half a dozen, it looks like already. I'm stoked, man, for a pilot. That really excites me. Thank you guys for joining. If you're seeing this and you've not looked into it, link should be below, or it's in the bio of whatever account you may be seeing this on. But guys, let's stick to the watch list. We'll do the weekend review, a little bit of market breadth. We're strong. We got a sell-off on Friday, not overly concerning. I do expect a bit of heightened volatility this week because there's some pretty significant tariff news that we'll be juggling early in the week. So we're not going to be too aggressive unless, the market shows it's clearly going to shake that off and get back on trend. It's in trend, but if we push higher on Monday, guys, we've got the RSP, holding the prior all-time high breakout level. We've got IWM doing the same thing, a little bit of a pullback, but we are trending there. At the end of the day, we're still in a very strong bull market, and I don't want to get shaken out just because of some headline news, right? We're going to let price action tell us what to do. We're going to continue to read breadth. A lot of the ETFs look really good. I think that we still have some upside potential. The GDP numbers were good this week. I think there's still some expansion to come. So let's jump in and we'll take a look at the RRR setups. We've got Dash. We've been watching this a lot. Guys, for anyone who's not seen it yet, I like to trade the leaders in a trend. So strong companies in a trend backed by growing fundamentals. So therefore backed by Wall Street, right? Institutions like to step in and position into these strong companies when they do pull back. And that's where we get our reaction. Our RRR setup is a retracement reaction at or around our levels, and a remount of the short-term moving average is the trigger, which suggests that we're going to get back on trend. You can see how many times we have played this here on Dash recently, and it looks to be setting up to trigger again. Really good risk reward on this. I think we can do at least 3-to-1 on Dash should we get a trigger over this range, and I think the stop can be simply just below the 50. Great risk reward. I'm very interested in Dash. Hood looks the same, so we've got a strong trending stock looking for a retracement reaction at or around our levels, and a remount of the short term would get me into Hood. All right, so before we jump into shop, this is going to be something that I discuss a few more times in this video, that we had a bit of a macro sell-off on Friday, which is giving a bit of a second opportunity at entry on some of these things that triggered earlier last week, right? So for instance, that would be shop. Sort of already triggered on us, right? But we're getting a bit of a pullback. Really weak day on Friday overall in the market. So some of these gave us a bit of a pullback to retest the entry level that happened early in the week. And should we see strength off of it, I think it's fine to enter. But there is enough that is still below, for example, the Hood and Dash that we just looked at. AMD, another one here, right? So we've got a strong company in a trend, retracement reaction at or around our level. And here's actually, again, an example of what I mean, right? So this was triggering on Thursday. Friday, we got the macro sell-off. So this gave us another opportunity at entry is all I mean by that. I don't mean to over-explain or confuse anyone. It's just that macro sell-off, that's really where we get most of our entries from, is a macro sell-off. It has nothing to do with the company. It gives us an opportunity for these things to go on sale, see institutions step in, get us back on trend, and we've got them at our backs at that point. We've got Palantir looking great, RRR setup here. Retracement reaction at around our level. Over the 9 looks really good to me here on Palantir. Meta looks the same. Boom, over the 9, I'm interested in this. Microsoft looks the same. Retracement reaction at around our level. Remount of the 9 would get me into Microsoft. We've got VRT, VST, same deals with so this triggered right late last week. It triggered on Thursday, okay, and then we get the macro sell-off, giving us possibly another opportunity at an entry here on VRT and VST, which I do like slightly more because now we're down below the 9. So this sort of becomes a shake and go setup on top of the RRR setup. Guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about, consider joining the boot camp where I'll teach you all 6 of my models, but I do also have a free course linked in YouTube, and you can also find it on my other socials. On X, I believe it is pinned still at this point. We've got Uber, right? So trending stock, retracement reaction at or around the level back over the 9 would be attractive here for me in Uber. And you've also got the all-time high breakout above. We've got VST, CEG. CEG I like a lot, okay. This was a bit of the macro sell-off. It was triggering on Thursday, didn't close above, but it was starting to trigger on Thursday. I'd like this above the 50, but guys, as I said, we got a bit of a macro sell-off on Friday. Should we see strength next week and get above the 50? I like CEG a lot. You've got prior all-time highs above to act as a magnet and pull us up towards those levels. HWM, the aerospace, is a hot sector, so over the 50 I do like it, but it's got some work to do there. Dave, I like financials as well, and again, you get the macro sell-off. It was triggering on Thursday, macro sell-off Friday, a little bit of strength early in the week back above those levels is a trigger for me here. CLS looks good. It's also a peg trigger we will review here in just a second, and again, one of those macro sell-offs giving a second chance at an entry for Triple R. Reddit, another one that is a Triple R setup and a peg play. Both of these are very strong. CLS and Reddit are both doing the same thing. We'll review those here in just a second. Why don't we just jump right into it? So taking a look here at our peg plays, and guys, again, if you need to see what I look for out of my peg plays, just go check out the free course. I go into it in detail there, but I basically use two indicators, and we're looking for a gap up off of earnings on big volume, at least 200% volume, and I look for a 5 to 10% or more gap up on big volume, and then we place an anchored VWAP in here starting on the gap day, and then we do a fixed range volume profile with a point of control. All of that can be adjusted in settings. Very simple stuff, but you can see right here that we've got our POC checked, and that is the dotted black line. It's the highest volume within our fixed range, right? That's what this black dotted line is. And the two of those combined suggest buyers or sellers in control. Above, buyers are in control. Below, sellers are in control. Very simple stuff, and makes it very easy to read price action and positioning, okay? So what happens is you get a big earnings beat and a surprise, and we get a gap up, and a lot of times institutions will, over the next few days to weeks, position into that. And these are two great indicators helping to identify who's in control. It's really just that simple. So guys, above an upsloping anchored VWAP and the point of control is my trigger for the peg plays. So CLS looks to be doing that, and also, if you remember, it is a Triple R setup as well, triggering at the same time. Reddit, we've got the same deal here. So we've got our gap up on earnings, and we've got our point of control, upsloping anchored VWAP, price above both. I think right above the 227 area is a trigger for me here on Reddit. That is definitely high up on watch for me. FSS, I'll just show a few more. FSS is another one, guys, above an upsloped anchored VWAP and the point of control. I think that would be a attractive trigger for me there. And we've got ALAB, bit of the macro sell-off, giving us another opportunity at an entry. You can see how significant this level is. It bounced right off of it on Friday and had some buying into the close. Pretty attractive if we get some strength next week. Sorry, let me move this over. Right, so here we go. And guys, again, you can see how significant this is. This stuff, this is called working with probabilities, okay? HNGE is another here, right? So if this anchored VWAP begins to slope up, maybe you probably have to be up here in the 58 range for that to happen. That would be clearing the range, plus being over the anchored VWAP and point of control. So you've got multiple convictions aligning there for an entry, and ANET would be the last. And same setup here, guys. If we get over this point of control and over top of it at that point, we would certainly have an upsloped anchored VWAP. That would be a trigger for me here on ANET. All right, that's it. I think I'd like to remain bullish. We do have some DPEG plays that we're watching. Should the market roll to the downside, you know, we don't know what's going to happen off of this tariff talk, right? It seems like there's probably going to be some heightened volatility. If we get if it feels like we're going to roll into a market correction, then we do have some opportunities to the downside. But guys, I want to focus to the long side. All right, we are in a strong bull market. Every dip is getting bought, and until that changes, I am not very interested in anything to the short side.